All right, let's do it on a Tuesday. Welcome into 104.5 The Zone. We're happy to have you here for the next 3 hours, and we got a bunch of stuff to do. Boys are back there behind the scenes making it happen. They'd be happy to field your phone calls throughout the course of the day. 615-737-1045 is the number. 615-737-1045 is how you jump on in. Did you get enough of dancing on the grave of the Indianapolis Colts yesterday? Because apparently they didn't. We walked out of here. I was so mad that as soon as it felt like we went to the last commercial break, I don't know if you guys felt this the same way, but Matt Ryan gets benched, according to Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network, literally as I'm closing my laptop for the day. It made me so sad. Now, Blaine and Mickey don't get news drops like that, so I'm very happy that if anybody got it instead of us, it was Blaine and Mickey. But I hate when that stuff, when we have to wait a full 24 hours almost to react to something as ridiculous as this.
But them's the breaks.
Damn right, Boris. Why can't we get a break every once in a while? I told you before we walked in here, I was so mad at you for not being here when Liz Truss resigned. We couldn't go right to the Boris Johnson clip.
I didn't know who Liz Truss was when she resigned.
Well, she wasn't English prime minister long enough for anybody to know who she was. But them's the breaks. So anyway, Matt Ryan got fired on his off day, and the Tennessee Titans are not entirely to blame, but somewhat. Listen to this from Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissero, and I believe Andrew Siciliano is a part of this broadcast too on the NFL Network, talking about how it was that Matt Ryan, aged 37 at 3-3-1 on this season, where I read all kinds of things on ESPN, on The Athletic, on very, very smart Football Outsiders, smart football publications, about Matt Ryan being the piece that could unlock a potential Super Bowl contention out of the 2022 Indianapolis Colts. And I think after we hear from Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero, I think that we should collectively go around the room and name one thing that lasted longer than Matt Ryan Colts' career. Is everybody in favor of that?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Let's hear from the guys on NFL Net.
Also, Frank Reich, quote, "The move right now is for Sam to be the starter for the rest of the season." Ian, so shoulder injury is just one small part of this story.
It is one small part of the story. It's a part of it. Matt Ryan not being there to be the backup is a thing. But the major thing is the Indianapolis Colts now have a new starting quarterback, Sam Ehlinger, who I know has been intriguing to various people around the league, someone that I know other GMs have been kind of watching, monitoring. I wonder if that guy would be available. Maybe we could trade for him under the right circumstances just because he's so talented. He is now the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. And just a couple days ago, Tom, I talked to Colts owner Jim Irsay, who told me, among other things, that Matt Ryan is a steely-eyed missile man. I believe that was the quote. I might have messed it up, but I believe that was it. He also told me that he was as good a leader as he's seen since Peyton Manning. Regardless, Matt Ryan just simply not getting it done in the field. The Colts offense has been a mess in general. Clearly, Ryan's struggling to make some of the throws. And so now, Sam Ehlinger, despite the fact that Matt Ryan is fully guaranteed on his contract for the next 2 years, is now the starter.
This is a move that the Colts never could have contemplated when they acquired Matt Ryan for a third-round pick from the Atlanta Falcons back in the spring. I talked to Frank Reich a couple weeks later, and he said he had gone through all the tape and thought Matt Ryan could make all the throws. Obviously, they were looking for stability in terms of the leadership of the operation as well. Matt Ryan checked all those boxes. But something that jumped out, especially in recent weeks here, was Matt Ryan, just in terms of having the arm to make all the throws, seemed to be struggling. And that was just one factor in why this Colts offense was repeatedly struggling to score. With Sam Ehlinger, it's a guy who they liked. They drafted him out of Texas because of his toughness, because of his makeup. Even though he doesn't necessarily have the physical traits of some other quarterbacks, he's not the tallest guy, he doesn't have the big arm, but he has a knack for making things happen. So you're trying to jumpstart a team that is supposed to go through the running game with Jonathan Taylor, the offensive line, which has not played well enough through the course of the season and has had some moving parts, and a defense that has not had its leader in Shaq Leonard for all but a couple of quarters so far this season. For Matt Ryan, as Ian mentioned, they're paying him about $24 million this season, Andrew. $12 million of his base salary for next season also guaranteed. So they're committed financially to Matt Ryan, but shoulder separation or no shoulder separation, Frank Reich says this was going to be the move. This is a sea change right now in Indianapolis. They hope for the better.
Why'd they do Matt Ryan like that? Why? All he did was go out and try and play quarterback for him. He gets absolutely buried behind an offensive line that is paid like the best in the league. And they go out there at the press conference where they bench this man, and they say, no, even if he didn't have the separated shoulder because Jeff Simmons is laying on top of him like a 300-pound brick, well, we're still going to go with Sam Ehlinger anyway. That is some cold-hearted bleep.
They really had to go out of their way to do that. It would have been so easy for it to be just an injury thing and see how it goes with Ehlinger. But for them to say the rest of the season, no matter what Sam Ehlinger does, the rest of the season, that's quite a blanket statement to make for a guy that hasn't taken a snap yet this year.
And people in the NFL are curious about Sam Ehlinger. Who are these people? Show me them. Do you know how many quarterbacks the Colts have paid since 2018? Can you put a number on it?
I know that they've had more quarterbacks than Ryan Tannehill has had losses to AFC South teams.
That is correct. They have had 12 damn quarterbacks since 2018.
Oh, my God.
Chris Ballard, 12.
Wait, that can't be.
12.
Can you name them?
On their roster. I have the list in front of me. You want me to go through it?
Sure. It would be better to see how many you can name without seeing the list.
Okay, well, I will. Now, this counts backup quarterbacks on the roster.
Oh.
So 12 in total that they have paid money to since 2018.
Okay.
Not that have started games for them, but it's still, I think it's a double-digit number because let's work backwards, all right? Matt Ryan, Nick Foles, Sam Ehlinger, Phillip Rivers, Andrew Luck,
Brissett,
Jacoby Brissett, Brad Kaya, I think was a Colt, former Miami quarterback. Jacob Eason, who now is, I think he's in Seattle.
I think he's in Seattle.
Maybe so.
Did Eason ever start games for them?
I think he had to come in for Rivers one time, but I don't think he started a game.
I think he
Eason is on the Carolina Panthers.
Eason is a Carolina Panther.
Eason came in for Wentz at one point last year, too.
Wentz, there's 9.
Yeah.
We have 9.
So I think 5 of those have started games.
So it is a list that is unbelievable for the Indianapolis Colts. And it's not lost on me that there's been 12 quarterbacks that they've paid money to in the last couple of years since 2018, and that Andrew Luck's number, when they booed him walking out of Lucas Oil Stadium in his retirement, is the number 12. Bleep you, Jim Irsay. That made me laugh out loud. Brian Hoyer was a Colt. Forgot about that. Chad Kelly, we forgot about Swag Kelly. Was this before or after he got arrested at Von Miller's Halloween party?
That was when he was with the Broncos, right?
I believe, yes, but I can't remember if his Colts career was before his Broncos career or not. Either way, Luck, Brissett, Kaya, Hoyer, Kelly, Eason, Wentz, Ehlinger, Brett Hundley. Forgot about Colts legend Brett Hundley.
By the way, Kelly is a Toronto Argonaut right now.
Look at Swag Kelly still out here doing it. He was a lot of fun at Ole Miss and then became just a complete nightmare once he got to the NFL.
He's the backup in Toronto.
Do you know how much money they have spent on those 12 quarterbacks since 2018?
It's a very large number.
$145 million of Jim Irsay's, not contracts, okay? Not like Monopoly Money NFL contracts. That's cash, kids. $145 million that they've just lit on fire.
Deposited into accounts.
And by the way, Matt Ryan's still getting that money. They're on the hook for $24.7 million. All right, let's go around the room, shall we? And if you have any creative nominees, we'll do them throughout the course. In fact, I now have a better way to do it. Well, I don't know. We have winners and losers today.
We have a lot today.
We do have a lot today. We have Titans president Burke Nihill going to be on the radio show today. The Titans are putting out some stadium renderings that I know he's excited to talk about this new stadium project. Kevin Byard, Titan safety, is going to be on the show today at 11:20, and Hall of Famer Warren Moon, who we're very excited to speak to. It's been quite some time, I think, since the 2021 NFL draft since we've had Warren Moon on the show. So we got a lot of things going on. So how do you want to do this, Lucas? Because we got winners and losers today, and we have Tennessee tickets to give away, theoretically, during winners and losers. Would you rather do it in a way that rewards somebody who comes up with the best, name something that lasted longer than Matt Ryan's Colts career? Thoughts?
I like that.
Do we like that? And we just do winners and losers anyway?
Yeah.
We got enough for winners and losers.
So,
all right.
But not now.
Not yet.
Not now.
Don't call him yet.
We'll sprinkle it in throughout the show. We'll start it in the next segment. But if you can call in and give us one thing that was longer than Matt Ryan's Colts career, the best submission will get Vols Kentucky tickets on Saturday.
I'm gonna start the bidding, okay? We'll do this throughout the course of the show. Urban Meyer's career as a Jacksonville Jag head coach lasted longer than Matt Ryan's Colts career. Herb got fired in November. Matt Ryan got fired not even to Halloween. Robert?
I'm going to say Adrian Peterson's Saints career lasted longer than Matt Ryan's Colts career.
Do we know that for certain? Was he?
No, I'm just spewing infactual things back here. Just trying to lie on the radio mostly.
It is not his Titans career. His Titans career was 3 games, which was shorter than Matt Ryan.
That's right.
I'm going to say Matt Ryan's Colts career is shorter than Brian Kelly's Auburn career, which isn't even over yet, but you know it's going to be over in the blink of an eye.
Brian Harsin.
Did I say Kelly? Brian Harsin. I apologize. Brian Kelly, he's going to be at LSU for a while.
Yeah, they're back in the top 25, the Tigers are. How about that? 615-737-1045. We'll do this throughout the course of today's show. What we need to get into coming up next, though, for a couple of different reasons. Looking at what is. Wait, are we doing weekly positivity?
No, I don't think we're doing weekly positivity. We don't have time for that.
That's what it says in front of me. Anyway, there's a bunch of NFL fan bases that are more pissed off than Titans fans, and we need to go through them coming up next.
The Buck Reising Show is powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Visit springhillac.com.
To the show, we're happy to have you. Got some Tennessee tickets to give away today, sponsored by Famous Dave's Barbecue on 104.5 The Zone. Give your one thing that lasted longer than Matt Ryan's NFL career, or career as a Colt, rather, not NFL career. Matt Ryan has had quite a prestigious NFL career.
There's not a lot of things longer than his NFL career.
That has ended in tremendous shame and disappointment. This man was an MVP of the league, and he went to Indianapolis. I just looked again at that Stephen Holder article, and it's not Stephen's fault, but they're like it was after they just tied the Texans in week 1. The idea that Matt Ryan came here specifically with the intention of winning a Super Bowl with the Indianapolis Colts this season, and now after week 7. No more. So, if you give us one thing that we think is funny that lasted longer than Matt Ryan's Colts career, we're going to send you to Tennessee versus Kentucky this Saturday night at Neyland Stadium, thanks to Famous Dave's Barbecue. Get the best barbecue for your buck only at Famous Dave's. So, let's since we're on that subject, like how down bad is the Colts fan base right now? They have to be one of the most miserable in the league. I was getting texts from my friends who are Colts fans, watching that game, suffering through that game, and trying to rationalize basically everything that had got them to the point of $145 million spent and 12 quarterbacks since 2018, and trying to figure out, does Frank Reich need to go alongside Matt Ryan? Does Chris Ballard need to go? Because they have wildly mismanaged the most important position on an NFL roster. Who is more pissed off today, right now, than Colts fans this season? Because I feel like for all the gripes the Titans fans have, they're 4-2. They're a statistical nightmare, but they've got a winning record and they're back atop their division, and they've just swept the Colts again. Who's got it worse than Colts fans right now?
I think that's the problem, right? I think this is like the Mercury retrograde NFL season, right? Like, isn't that the thing everybody's girlfriend says when stuff's going wrong? Oh, Mercury's in retrograde. I think that's the NFL season this year.
That's like a Crystals kind of joke that I feel like 90% of the sports radio audience listening between the hours of 10 and 1 are going to have no idea what the hell you just said.
Hey, let me tell you something. You go to a bar and you smell that girl that smells like patchouli oil, go ask her what Mercury in retrograde is, and I probably just did you a favor, buddy.
Basically all of East Nashville.
But first, who is happy? Who is happy in the NFL right now? I could name 3 teams that I think that their fans aren't complaining, aren't whining. I would say it's the Chiefs, the Bills, the Eagles. Everyone else is depressed. Who is happy? Even good teams, even teams with good records, Buck, the Giants and the Jets, can't convince themselves that they're good because they have such PTSD. Jets fans are crying today, or maybe jubilant about getting James Robinson, but it's a replacement, right? I have a Giants friend. After they beat the Ravens, I was like, great win, buddy. You guys look good this year. He's like, no, we suck. We're terrible. We're not going to beat anybody. You're 5-1.
6-1.
Add another one, why don't you? And then, okay, we'll go around to the other teams that have been good for a long time, right? Green Bay. Their fans are perturbed that Aaron Rodgers isn't consecutively having 300-yard passing games.
Well, they should be, by the way.
Even really 2 touchdown games, but I digress. Green Bay's not happy. The Bucks aren't happy. They've got old Tom Brady fussing at his offensive line, fussing at his old-ass defense. They can't figure it out. And speaking of old, look at the Patriots. Do you think they're happy?
Why are you screaming at me?
I'm getting passionate about it.
He's getting all worked
Do
up.
you think the Patriots are happy? They went from having the GOAT at quarterback to now having to choose from oatmeal and cereal at a continental breakfast, Buck. They're not happy either.
Wait. Which one's Mac Jones and which one's Bailey Zappi? Who's
Bailey Zappi's definitely cereal because he's got some sugar. Mac Jones is just that oatmeal.
Future Colts quarterback,
flavorless oatmeal.
Or Panthers, man. You never know. They both trade for bad guys.
I've got one. I think Seahawks fans, given the circumstances, are way happier than they thought they would be at this point. They just beat the Chargers. They just put up 37 on the Chargers. They've got a winning record. Geno Smith is cooking. He's not riding back. People wrote him off. He's not riding back. They've got a stud rookie running back in Kenneth Walker that gets better with every passing week. They've got a true number 1 wide receiver in DK Metcalf. I think Seahawks fans are way happier than anybody thought they would be at this point.
Let me tell you why they're not. They're ready to tank. They want a
They
big
wanna
pick,
lose.
and
They
they're
want a
like,
good
dang it,
quarterback."
are you kidding me? We need picks. We need good players. Stop winning games. How are we winning with Geno? Everyone is unhappy.
615-737-1045. Name something that lasted longer than Matt Ryan's Colts career. Josh in Manchester will lead us off. Josh.
Hot start.
Yes, Greg Schiano, Tennessee's coaching career.
That's an early leader. That's an early leader.
That's a
Good
really
stuff.
strong start. Thank you, Josh in Manchester. His time as Tennessee head coach lasted longer than Matt Ryan's Colts career.
Yes, Jeff on Twitter tweeted at me and said Kevin Steele's time as Tennessee's defensive coordinator. I think he meant to say Kevin Steele's time as Tennessee's head coach because he was the interim for a couple of weeks there. Made about $1 million to do nothing when they were in between coaches.
That's a strong one. I love the idea of just mixing these in throughout the course of the day today. So all points well taken. That note though that Robert about the Seahawks, they have to be thinking that because like what Geno is doing is it's arguably the best story in the NFL right now. Right? Did you even remember that Geno Smith played for the Chargers?
I don't remember. I remember his Jet stint, his Giant stint, not really his Charger stint.
T-Dub on Twitch says Bert's rant lasted longer than Matt Nathaniel Ryan's Colts career. But like even Chiefs fans, the numbers on Patrick Mahomes this season, the efficiency level are off the charts. He's doing something that like historically only Tom Brady, Matt Ryan, and Peyton Manning have ever done off to the efficiency levels that he's had through these first 7 weeks of games. And Chiefs fans are bent out of shape because, you know, they're not figuring out a big enough role for Isaiah Pacheco in the offense. Like, this is the thing, all right? Because I feel like, you know, it's gotten so bad with the Titans and the style of offense that they play, for me, that Lucas, we put into effect last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever pre-vacation, that we had to play ABBA every Monday after a Titans road game just because it's going to put me in a better mood. Just to change my tone about something, because even if they win, I'm going to come in here and be like, but did you watch them? Did you watch them? And the numbers today, whew, the numbers that John Glennon of Sports Illustrated put out in a way that is just... It makes you have to rethink everything that you watch on Sunday, because when John went through the numbers, what he did is he took where the Titans rank in overall offense and defense, pass offense and defense, rush offense and defense, and points in the league, where they rank across the board. The Titans are 31st overall in offense. They are 26th in defense. Their passing offense is 29th in the league. Their passing defense is 31st, and that's after a really strong performance against the Colts. Their rushing attack is currently ranked 20th, and that's the best thing that they do, except what they have done since the start of the season, which really changed since the first Colts game, is they've become one of the best rushing defenses in all of football this year. And by the way, not lost on me. There's a Josh Allen, unicorn game mixed in there that really skews the percentages on that. But not lost on me that I think they've been substantially better against the run without Zach Cunningham in the lineup. Now, I know Dylan Cole missed a couple of tackles on Sunday, but I think on the whole, the sample size has been improved from what we saw earlier in the season with Zach Cunningham as David Long's inside linebacking running mate. So when you talk about the kind of angst that people feel about their sports teams, are we overreacting, or is this just the case everywhere? Because we ran back that Tom Brady clip yesterday from a couple of weeks ago when I think a bunch of teams were like 2-2 or 3-2 or 2-3 in the league. And Brady's asked about the parity. Have you ever seen parity this evident in football? And Brady's response is, as the Bears go to 3-4 last night and the Patriots fall to 3-4 and everybody in the damn league is 3-4. Brady's asked about, well, have you ever seen the parity at this level? And his response is, I'm just watching bad football. It's just bad football being played out there in the league right now. And I think a lot of it is because the injuries are as rampant anywhere in the league as they have ever been. The amount of offensive linemen going down after a Sunday on a Monday where you just look at the injury report and now Elijah Vera Tucker, the Jets stud, is out for the year with torn triceps.
They have just gotten ravaged on the offensive line.
Oh, well, so how many left? They've been through 2 left tackles already?
because Mekhi Becton went down. They went and grabbed Dwayne Brown. He went down, and then you throw in Vera Tucker.
So I think this is just the typical kind of sports fandom angst that everybody's experienced because nobody's happy with their NFL football team right now.
The Eagles fan base has to be on cloud 9 right now.
Well, the Philadelphia fan base.
Phillies at the World Series, absolutely. Across the board, like even in MLS, the Philadelphia Union are in the mix to go to the MLS Cup final right now at the end of the playoffs. And the Phillies at the World Series, the Eagles are undefeated. They don't have anything to complain about right now. They have to be the only fan base in America that can say that right now.
Bills fans are just perpetually happy people, like just based off my experience with them both several times here in Nashville and now going to Buffalo and witnessing them in their environment. Bills fans just seem to be generally jolly group of individuals because, I mean, what can you be but emotionally broken after going to 4 straight Super Bowls and losing them all, right? Having documentaries made about your playoff ineptitude as a franchise, and then you get Josh Allen, you're like, hey, this is great. This is a lot of fun. This is better than Nathan the Peterman and Tyrod Taylor and all the manner of terrible quarterbacking that they've had. And like, they had like one of the longest playoff droughts in the NFL prior to Josh Allen kind of getting them right. It was something like 17 years, something outrageous. That made Titans fans kind of look around and be like, hey, at least we're not those guys.
Nathan Peterman's Tennessee career lasted longer than Matt Ryan's career as the Colts starter.
That's a really good one.
Joshua on YouTube says Tim Tebow's tight end career lasted longer than Matt Ryan in Indy. I don't think that's technically true. Yeah, because that was just training camp.
He didn't make it to the regular season, did he?
No, he did not.
Are you sure?
No, he did not.
I think... What were the highlights then of him in the preseason absolutely getting blown up by
he made it
fifth string outside linebackers?
1, maybe 2 preseason games.
Tim Tebow's career. This is such a stupid sport where Tim Tebow, that was last year. At 2021, Tim Tebow's in a training camp as an NFL tight end after playing quarterback his entire life and having been out of the league for 9 years.
He was released on August 17th, 2021, like almost a full month before the regular season.
No, you cannot have Tim Tebow's tight end career over Matt Ryan's Colts career. At least Matt made it through a training camp, preseason, and 7 weeks of the NFL. Unreal. So I guess, as far as like the things that you have to be legitimately concerned about, because the counting stats don't tell the entire story, right? We know what for example, how poor the passing defense has been is not indicative of how well the Titans defense does at keeping people out of the red zone or keeping people from scoring touchdowns once they get in the red zone, settling for field goals, something that we're going to talk to Kevin Byard about at 11:20 today. And so, a couple of different ways to look at this. I do think how much better they've been against the run has allowed them to kind of disperse things a little better. They're just playing better as a defense on the whole. It's not analytical numbers. It's not EPA per play. It's nothing beyond counting stats, just total yardage and points. By the way, they are 21st in the NFL, scoring 19.2 points per game. They are tied for 17th as far as scoring defense is concerned, at 21.3. That's pretty good. Their point differential right now is obviously skewed to the negative, so it's not a great place for you to exist. And a lot of that is, thrown out of whack by 41-7 in Buffalo and not being able to score in the second half of games and all the different problems that you have to complain about. Lebowski says, so Urban lasted longer as a head coach? Yes, Urban lasted longer. That was mine.
Yep.
Did I get yours, or was the Peterman yours?
Mine was Brian Harson's career at Auburn.
That's right. 615-737.
Dylan on YouTube says Jason Witten's Monday Night Football career.
Ooh, that did last longer. What is Jason Witten doing now?
I'm not sure. I mean, he was in the house last time I saw Jason Witten, Finley Stadium in Chattanooga, when his alma mater Elizabethton was in the state championship game.
Okay.
I think his brother might be coaching that team. I might be wrong.
All right.
but I'm not sure.
Jason Witten, Dylan Brown. Jason Witten's Monday Night Football career is a pretty good one. So we're going to do these throughout the course of the show today. Name one thing that lasted longer than Matt Ryan's Colts career. You give us the best one, we'll send you to see Tennessee hosting Kentucky. Number 3, Tennessee hosting Kentucky at Neyland Stadium this weekend. Let's go to Cedric in Murfreesboro next. Cedric.
Yo, the only thing that's worse in the AFC South is Susie Adams-Smith ownership of the Titans.
Susie, you mean Amy Adams-Strunk or Susie Adams-Smith?
Susie Adams-Smith. That was shorter than Matt Ryan.
John Bon Jovi's ownership of the Tennessee Titans.
The rumors lasted longer than Matt Ryan's career. That's right.
Ryan.
That's a really good one. Cedric with a deep cut. Cedric with a deep cut on that. I had forgotten there was even a tenure because she sold, I think, her shares to Amy, which I believe is how Amy became controlling owner of the franchise. Because that was when I first got down here, and everybody was looking around and saying, just name who are the faceless entities that are running the Titans right now in the absence of Bud Adams, and everybody's just spiraling around, and it's all a bunch of. It's like the Maras. Mara just sounds like an old, rich, old money American name. And, of course, they're NFL owners. Like John Mara sounds like pretentious billionaire owner, yes? And I'm pretty sure the Adams-Strunk-Smith family has a first name in there, I think, that really, really connotes billionaire NFL owner. And I can't remember which one of them it is.
When you say faceless owner, I think Preds before Bill Haslam.
Well, there's like 17 of them.
Right, because you just have no idea. But now it's Bill Haslam, so you kind of have that figured out.
615-737-1045 is how we'll go about this throughout the course of the day. We got winners and losers coming up next. We will do that. Don't forget that Titans president, Burke Nihill. We need to talk about this stadium, as a matter of fact. The stadium renderings are out, and Burke Nihill is going to join us in studio, Titans team president, at 11 o'clock. I am getting pictures sent back to me. So it's a video and a collection of photos of the new renderings of the Titans stadium. It's done by a company called Manica, and I'm reading from the press release right now. It's going to encompass 1.7 million square feet with a capacity of approximately 60,000 people. The renderings follow last week's announcement that the team in the city of Nashville had reached a proposed agreement for a new enclosed stadium, which will be discussed by Metro Council and the Sports Authority in coming weeks.
Ron Slay says Aaron Rodgers hosting Jeopardy lasted longer than Matt Ryan's Colts career.
I'm glad that we did it this way because we're going to get a lot more creative responses. Stadium talk, winners and losers. That's next. Buck Reising here with you on 104.5 The Zone. Titans President Burke Nihill going to join us at 11 o'clock to talk about the new renderings released by the team of the future Titans stadium and campus surrounding. Lucas, you watched the video yet?
Yes, a lot of I'm getting some SoFi Stadium vibes.
The roof, for sure. It is Allegiant Field-esque. It is SoFi Stadium-esque, to where it's got the is it translucent the right word? I think translucent is the correct word. Translucent roof with a little bit of space, so it looks technically open air. At least the one at SoFi is. I guess I can't really tell from the renderings at this point. The thing looks spectacular, and it makes the East Bank look great. There's a lot of the thing that catches me up is just it's so much small. I mean, it's not so much smaller, but it is substantially smaller than your typical NFL stadium right now. There was a memo that was leaked a while back about the capacity requirements for Super Bowls being between 65 and 70,000, and this stadium would project as 60,000 seat, and in the press release, 60,000 seat, first class, state-of-the-art, enclosed facility. Located on 15 acres in the eastern portion of the East Bank property, generally bounded by Russell, Interstate Drive, Shelby Avenue, and South 2nd Street. The total cost, a reminder of the stadium, is currently estimated to not exceed $2.1 billion. This includes site preparation, demolition of Nissan Stadium, all public infrastructure necessary to open the stadium, and a reasonable contingency plan. So, I mean, it's hard not to get excited about bright, shiny things, right? This one's real, unlike the last time we saw stadium renderings, right? Remember the whole baseball situation that was supposed to... Those renderings, have you ever gone back and looked at those? A couple of...
So ridiculous.
I mean, it's been over a year now, probably closer to 2, since they put those out there, where there's just a sad, Nissan Stadium in the corner in the shadows next to this bright, monstrous... baseball stadium that the pedestrian bridge literally dumps out into.
So stupid.
Like you would have to, in this rendering, walk through the baseball stadium to get to Nissan. And everybody, at the Titans organization in the city just looked around and said, what? Who?
Nashville fans getting gaslit about Major League Baseball has lasted longer than Matt Ryan's Colts career.
God, it's so good. Let's do the winners and losers of the sports weekend. While we're at it, go ahead and give me the circus music. Real simple. Who had a good weekend in sports? Who had a bad one? 615-737-1045 is how you nominate them, and we will get to more of your phone calls on what lasted longer than Matt Ryan's Colts career as well. Bo Nix and the Oregon Ducks hosted an undefeated UCLA team. Now, Lucas said it accurately, I believe, on Friday. Many of us stopped paying attention to Oregon after they got dummied by Georgia in the season opener of the college for both of those teams. So, Bo Nix is my winner of the sports weekend, the current Oregon quarterback. We know what he was at Auburn. It was a roller coaster ride of a 3-year stint as their starting quarterback for the Tigers. He has since then. He did not look like he was having a good time against Georgia. Certainly many quarterbacks don't. But what he did in leading Oregon to a 45-30 win over Chip Kelly's UCLA to hand the Bruins their first loss, it was crazy. 22 of 28, 283 yards, and 5 touchdowns. And he was making smart plays with his feet. He's not some kind of electric runner, but it's the first time I felt good about Bo Nix's decision-making when on the run. Winner of the sports weekend, Bo Nix and the Oregon Ducks, because that guy has been the butt of a lot of jokes, and he played as good as any quarterback in the sport this past Saturday.
Look at you starting with some positivity with the winner first. I don't know if we ever start with the winner first.
I feel like I always start with the winner first.
My winner
You just don't listen to the show.
No, rarely. My winner of the sports weekend, Washington Commanders quarterback Taylor Heineke. We were up there at FedEx Field, 2-3 weeks ago? We heard the chants for Heineke before every single Commander's offensive drive.
That's true.
They asked, and he delivered. Now, he had a very slow start. I was monitoring this game in the first quarter. He had a really bad completion percentage out the gate, had an early interception. He settled in. He finished 20 of 33, 201 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick, leading the Commanders to a 23-21 win over the Green Bay Packers. And an image has circulated of Taylor Heineke's game-winning go-ahead touchdown to Terry McLaurin. As the ball is leaving his hand, this man's eyes are fully closed.
That's right.
The definition of bleep it, Terry is down there somewhere, and it paid off. And you know what? Players seem to love this guy. Everywhere he goes. In the AAF, at Maryland, he played with Stephon Diggs. Diggs commenting on his Instagram, giving him some love. Clearly, the Washington players love him. Taylor Heineke, who's just managed to stick around, is my winner of the weekend.
They had Lawan and Compton had him on Bussin' with the Boys, and honestly, it was one of the most interesting interviews that I think those guys have done, because the dude he's a bit of a folk legend. He's the last time Tom Brady's been scared in a playoff game.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about. Taylor Heineke, good for him. Loser of the sports weekend collectively. Not just the Iowa football program, not just Kirk Ferentz and his son Brian, who is only still employed by nature of nepotism, not just the Iowa Hawkeye fans who have to suffer through what it is an atrocity that school on offense trots out each and every Saturday at this point. They played Ohio State this weekend, and they got so thoroughly embarrassed so many different ways that it's like watching Matt Ryan get absolutely battered around back there at 37 years old, like a scared old man. I feel bad for the Iowa football players because nobody, not that defense that is electric, not those offensive players who I'm sure would like to throw a pass beyond the line of scrimmage just from time to time. I've never seen an offense so many different ways find ways to move backwards in any given possession. They have done it literally every way imaginable and probably invented even more. Iowa, football, all of it, loser.
The situation makes it so much worse with it being Brian Ferentz, son of Kirk Ferentz, as the OC. I'll keep it in the Big Ten, my loser of the sports weekend. Your Indiana Hoosiers, who fall to Rutgers on Saturday. And at face value, that's not enough to make, for me to make them the loser of the weekend. Indiana loses a lot. But Reddit College Football with this stat. Indiana sprinted out to a 14-0 lead in the first 10 minutes, but couldn't hang on for a loss to Rutgers, which has led to a historic milestone for the Hoosiers. Indiana football is the first FBS team to record 700 losses in program history. I was stunned at this stat. I can't believe this is true.
You don't, when you go out with me to a bar with a lot of my college friends in Indianapolis the way that you did, and everybody's wearing IU gear, and there's an IU game on, and not a single person looks up at the television during the IU football game, now you understand why. We don't know that the football team is playing games. I got a highlight on my ESPN app of them running back the opening kickoff against Rutgers, and they still managed to lose that game.
I just couldn't believe that stat when I saw it. The first program to hit 700 losses.
The most believable thing in the world if you've ever even tangentially looked up at an Indiana football game at a sad, sad airport bar. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in on the conversation. Remember that Titans president Burke Nihill going to join us to talk about these stadium renderings coming up next. We can do this with. You think Burke would be a good sport about doing this in studio?
I think it could be funny.
Well, I think as long as I don't put him in a position as Titans team president says thing that lasted longer than Matt Ryan's career, I think we can play it safe that way.
Jeremy on Twitter says the forgotten Big Mac stuck under my bed lasted longer than Matt Ryan's Colts career. Hashtag still good.
What? No. That's a violation. Who is this?
Jeremy Trott on Twitter.
Jeremy, people can see your tweets. You don't want that out there. Connor in Springfield, name something that lasted longer than Matt Ryan's Colts career.
I'm going to have to say Vic Beasley is a Titan. He was a better artist than Bob Ross out there. He was just drawing a check.
It's so good. He did. Vic Beasley is a Titan. Jonathan Joseph also lasted longer.
Clowney.
Clowney. Oh my God, this may be the best game that we've played on air throughout the course of a show. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in. Titans President Burke Nihill will join us coming up next.
It is 11 o'clock. Good morning from the Superbook.com sports desk. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Chicago Bears traveled to the New England Patriots for Monday Night Football and grabbed a 33-14 win. Mac Jones benched in the first half for former Western Kentucky quarterback Bailey Zappi, who went 14 of 22 for 185 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. News in the AFC South this week. Colts head coach Frank Reich informed the media on Monday that quarterback Matt Ryan will be benched in favor of Sam Ehlinger for the remainder of the season. Indy hosting Washington next Sunday. And the Jacksonville Jaguars trading away running back James Robinson to the Jets on Monday for a conditional 6th-round pick. The Jets making the move after the ACL injury to rookie running back Breece Hall. The Tennessee Titans have released renderings for the proposed new stadium on the East Bank. Titans president Burke Nihill in studio in moments with the Buck Reising Show to discuss. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour number 2 off and rolling here on 104.5 The Zone. Welcome in. Welcome back. If you've been spending some of your time with us this morning, we are very happy to have somebody who I think is a first-time guest on this show. Titans president Burke Nihill is kind enough to spend some time in studio with us today. I'm sorry that this is the first time that we've done this.
As am I. Let's make it the first of many.
I think you guys are going to be in the news for a little while longer, so there are probably going to be a few more opportunities to do this. So very exciting stuff. If you haven't seen it, the Titans about an hour ago put out a very well-produced video and a couple of stadium renderings of what this new 2026 stadium plan and campus surrounding it on the new part of the East Bank that you guys are going to occupy is going to look like. This has to be something that you all collectively are fired up towards because it's just another step in the process of something that is pretty unique.
Yeah, we've been working on this for, 6 or 7 months on a new building concept. But as those of you who've been following this would remember, we originally had started down the path of a renovation. And the renovation process really had us digging into, what is authentically Nashville and how might a stadium in Nashville look different than a stadium in Las Vegas or Los Angeles or some other place. So when we started working on a potential new stadium design, we weren't starting from flat ground. We'd already done a lot of research and thinking about what a great stadium facility in this particular city, this particular state might look like. But I would say this is pretty unusual to have concepts that are this well developed at this phase because, as you know, Buck, we still have a ways to go here to make this project a reality. Very, very pleased to have announced a deal with Mayor Cooper last week. But we still have to work with City Council and listen to their questions and answer their questions. We still have to work with the Metropolitan Nashville Sports Authority, who is the ultimate landlord of that stadium. And that process is going to take months, not weeks. But we had to get concepts much earlier than you would typically get concepts like this for 2 reasons. One, we had to figure out whether there was a stadium that could fit on that site. So if you pull up a map and look at an overhead view, looks like there's a stadium-shaped parking lot off to the east between our stadium and the La Quinta and the highway. But it's just not quite that easy. You can't superimpose one building and just assume that another one's going to fit. There's things like loading docks and how do you work through a construction zone where you've got put down areas and you got to lay down cranes and that sort of thing. So we had to know whether there was a building that could fit. That was one. The second is we needed to know what it would cost to build a building like that. We had contractors along for the ride as we were working with the architects that were giving us advice about, this material versus that material. Both of them are durable. Both of them look great. This one's $7 a square foot cheaper than the other one. We just didn't want to put together a potential project, get into the process and realize that the building costs much, much more than we realized. So these contractors have given an opinion that we know what this building is going to cost to build. The budget that we announced with Mayor Cooper builds in that level of thinking. So that's why we have the benefit of these concepts this early. Typically, this is something that would come much later in the process. But to your point, we're very, very excited about where we landed. A lot of really smart people that it's been a really fun project to try to build something and imagine what's possible here in Nashville.
Titans president Burke Nihill in studio with us talking about these new stadium renderings as a part of the process that is the 2020 or the plan for August 2026 for this stadium to be operational and for the team to be able to take advantage of and start using. I think that, for as you talk about the timeline for the process, one, you put out pictures and then talk about Metro Council meetings. People are already foaming at the mouth, Burke. You know how that works. We got very, very short attention spans in the sports world. But I do think that the August 26th goal, it initially struck me as ambitious. And I guess why was that the targeted date for you guys, for you and the city? Why did that make the most sense? And what is it that I guess gives you confidence that is going to be achievable?
Yeah, there's several reasons. There was a point when we were talking about 2026 when there was the possibility of the World Cup choosing Nashville. There was originally a hard date that we were working towards. But it's the construction schedule. How long does it take to build a building like that? And we've got an internal construction manager who just continuously updates what a potential construction schedule would look like. And 2026 is still in play. It's still the goal. What I would tell you is we're not going to stick to an arbitrary date of 2026 if it ends up that the design process is taking longer, the full design process, or if the construction process to get it right and make sure it's a durable building that lasts generations takes longer. This isn't a building that's being built for one season. This is a building that's being built for generations. And so we'll take the time to get it right, both in terms of a design and in terms of construction process. And so if that means that 26 the building isn't ready, that's a consequence that we'd be willing to live with. But as we sit here today, 26 is absolutely still in play.
A lot of people excited about that idea too. So with the whole process and the renderings that have been put out, obviously, it's just the initial one. I know there's been several different steps that led to these, but why you mentioned wanting to make a stadium that that signified Nashville, that lent itself to the city of Nashville. What is it about the renderings that people should particularly note when they go and look at the video and the pictures that have been, I think, put out basically everywhere at this point?
So look, most stadiums, we travel on the road, and you do too. Mm-hmm. It's usually you're pulling off of a highway exit somewhere in the suburbs, and you pull into a sea of parking. And so a stadium in that environment, have at it. Build a spaceship if you want to build a spaceship. Build a concrete building if you want to build a concrete building. We understand the responsibility and the stewardship of, given our central location, we've got to build a building that will make Nashville proud, will make Tennessee proud, will respect its location. The mayor released his East Bank vision a couple months ago, and that East Bank vision calls for the area that we're turning back to the city as a part of this transaction to become Nashville's next great neighborhood. There's going to be incredible parks. There's going to be transportation. There's going to be bike lanes and riverfront engagement. And so a building built there needs to honor that location, right? And needs to be something that it just reflects the character of this city and this state. I would say this: my favorite building in Nashville is the Ryman. And the Ryman is not...
It's a pretty solid choice.
Right? The Ryman isn't a feature-rich building, right? The Ryman isn't opulent. What the Ryman has is a soul, right? And it's got character that reflects Nashville. And if we're building a building today, the Ryman is a 100-plus-year-old building. You don't want to build a building that just pretends like it's a 100-plus-year-old building. You want to build a building that's right for this time and place. But we're trying to design a building that, 100 years from now, people are talking about this building as reflecting the character and richness of this city and this state.
Titans president Burke Nihill hanging out with us in studio. The renderings look really, really unique, and I now that you mention the Ryman, it's got I understand the aesthetic, at least in concept, that makes it fit with the spot where it is currently, where the plans would have it currently located. I think the biggest question outside of all of this that really caught my attention or kind of piqued my interest was the capacity of 60,000. I know initially at the press conference you had said between 55 and 60,000, and you immediately followed that up by saying, before you ask, this is the size stadium that will allow us to accommodate a Super Bowl and similar large events that way. So there's this league memo out there that said there was a requirement of between 65 and 70,000 for Super Bowls. But obviously, before you go through the process of this, you were in communication with the league about, hey, if we do this thing, are we going to be able to host the league's biggest event as a part of that?
Right. I mean, players used to smoke cigarettes in the locker room in the NFL. Things change in the NFL, and so it used to be that they had an arbitrary cap of or limit of 70,000 capacity to host a Super Bowl. That's a concept they've moved past long ago.
Okay.
This year's Super Bowl is going to be played in a building with less than 70,000 capacity. We are. I would describe the people who work on Super Bowl type events and fan experience generally. I would describe them as friends. They're people we got to know very, very well during the draft process. They were here this weekend, and we have been in touch from the earliest moments. We were in touch with them when we were thinking about a renovation, and when we shifted to a new stadium. They have helped inform, what is the ultimate NFL experience and one that reflects this particular market. And they love this building. They absolutely love this building. From the commissioner on down, they love this building, and they love this city. This city showed out back in 2019. You can have the greatest plans for an event like the draft or an event like the Super Bowl or the Combine, but it's really about the people embracing it in a city, and that's what they saw in Nashville. And it wasn't just the fans and the public who showed up, but it was the businesses who supported it. It was the police force. It was the community leaders who. Nashville is just a different place. We all know it. This is why we love this place. This place has the spirit of optimism and generosity, and we're easy to work with compared to other cities. And there's no question in my mind that they will be very excited to come back here with their biggest and best events.
It's been several months since we had Butch Spiriton on, but that was basically, what he alluded to as well. As it had to have been around the World Cup prior to Nashville missing out on that opportunity. But I think the thing that really stood out is it not only, created this relationship clearly between the city of Nashville, the Tennessee Titans as an organization, and the NFL and its partners. It seems to me that it's changed the way that they do a lot of these events after how successful that was, and haven't necessarily been able to replicate elsewhere, which also speaks, I think, to the job that the city did that week.
Yeah, Butch and I went out to Philadelphia during it would have been the 2017 NFL draft as kind of a scout team for Nashville. And
it's a different kind of advanced scouting in football.
Right? The draft at that point had been in New York and Chicago and had gone to Philadelphia for the first time. There were rumors that ended up being true that they were going to Dallas with their next event. And there was this idea that the NFL brings these sorts of events to their biggest cities, right? They want the biggest markets to host their biggest events. But we sat there and listened to what the NFL was looking for in a draft event. And we just sat there on a notepad and sketched out what we believed was going to be the best draft in the history of the drafts that no one was ever going to be able to keep up with. And as it ends up, that's exactly what happened. And the NFL has learned from that experience. And look, they want every market to do their market, right?
Something unique to them.
Right. And Vegas's draft last year was really cool and unique to Vegas. But I don't think there's any question that Nashville draft set the standard and really changed. It was a paradigm shift for them about what this event could be. And, whether it's the Super Bowl, whether it's the Combine, I think, whether it's the Final Four, I think Nashville can have that same impact on some of the biggest and best events in the world if there's a facility that can host the actual event itself.
This is like legacy type stuff, though. Like, to get a stadium built among NFL organizations and ownership groups, like this is the kind of stuff that people remember for a very, very long time. To talk to Coach Mack about it when he was the head coach of the Cardinals, and the whole process, I know it's a different angle, but the whole process that he went through as a part of trying to help get that stadium built. I mean, this is something, how significant is that? How conscious of that fact are you guys? I know, there are obviously other reasons that it's being done, but this is really, really meaningful stuff.
I don't want to breeze too quickly past the other reasons that this is being done, because that is actually where I personally, and I think our organization and Amy get the most gratification. This started off with a long-standing financial concern that was really difficult to solve. There's an aging city-owned building and a lease that's really hard on the taxpayers. And we'd gone to sports authority meetings for years, and we'd have conversations with the board members about how we ultimately solve this challenge. And we pursued the renovation opportunity, and it ended up that didn't make financial sense. And that the final result here is a state, a city, a team, other community leaders coming together to creatively create a win-win-win across the board is just massively gratifying. The design, I think, is beautiful, and I think that this building, if built, could be an absolute city and state icon that is just celebrated for generations. I really believe that. But the process of getting here, for those of us who've been working on this, it's been really hard because we've come up against challenges and hurdles, and that all of these different entities with different interests and stakeholders who saw things from different angles, that we were able to come up with a solution that we genuinely believe everyone wins. Everyone from the status quo to what is possible here is in a better position, and this building becomes a reality is really, really gratifying. And on top of that, these acres and acres of asphalt that right now, as we sit here on a Tuesday at about 11 o'clock, are just dormant without much activity, becomes this really, really special, generationally great part of our town, and we can start engaging the riverfront for locals and families to start enjoying. I mean, this is just an incredible outcome, and the building is almost kind of the last thing that I think about when I think about all of that, because it's been this long journey, and but it sure is a nice cherry on top.
Before we let you get out of here, because Kevin Byard is coming up next. He's doing some really cool stuff with Campbell's Chunky Soup. Let's go to Jason. Jason, name something that lasted longer than Matt Ryan's Colts career.
Hello?
Go, Jason.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, I didn't know. I couldn't remember if y'all said if it's Matt Ryan's playing career for the Colts or his entire time there.
Just the Colts.
I was going to say, I had two then. I was going to say my friend next to my friend's my neighbor, he's got his Halloween decorations up longer than he was a Colts fan for Matt Ryan. And then the other one was the stadium. They've been talking about plans for the stadium longer than Matt Ryan was a Colts.
They have been talking about a new Titan stadium longer than Matt Ryan played for the Colts. Burke, thank you.
Thanks for having me, Buck.
Kevin Byard is next.
The Buck Reising Show is powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Visit springhillac.com.
Welcome back. Titans president Burke Nihill was kind enough to join us in studio. We'll keep the Titans train rolling with safety Kevin Byard, who joins us now on 104.5 The Zone. He's doing something really, really cool today with Campbell's Chunky. KB, what's up, boss?
Hey, what's up, Buck? What's going on?
Not much, man. We're living. We're just we're doe-eyed over these new stadium renderings that you guys just put out today. You had a chance to see anything?
I have not. What do they look like? Look cool?
It looks SoFi, but a little smaller on the East Bank. I think it looks nice over there. You're gonna have to take a look after this.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check it out. I'm pretty sure it looks dope.
So tell me, before we talk some ball, tell me what you got going on with the Chunky Sacks Hunger program with Campbell's. I know you've been working with them for several years now.
Yeah, so I'm actually at Bridge Ministry right now. So we just finished about an hour or so. We've been volunteering. So what Campbell's is doing, they're donating 5,000 products to Bridge Ministry. We obviously help pack up some products with a bunch of volunteers, also among some other things. But just like you said, man, I've been partnering with Campbell's for like the past 4 years. They've been doing a great job, just our partnership, being able to try to sack hunger in Nashville. And another thing that we're partnering with this year as well, for every sack this season that we get, Campbell's is donating 1,000 products, 1,000 meals. So we're at 16 right now. So that's 16,000 products that's going to be obviously donated to people less fortunate than us, people that's going to need it this holiday season. So hopefully we can get another 16, then another 16, and we can just have a ton of sacks. So not only will we be helping the Titans win, but also helping the community win as well.
Man, that's outstanding. Did you warn Campbell's on the front end that Jeff and Autry are out here making guys like Quentin Nelson look foolish on a regular basis? They probably didn't know.
They didn't know. So hopefully we get a little bit more incentives for those guys to get some more sacks.
Hey, man, four straight wins is crazy. Like, especially the way that you guys do this, Kevin. I've been covering the team since I'm pretty sure your rookie year. Like, I've seen you guys do it some crazy ways, but like this season, and I know you rattled off 6 straight wins after an 0-2 start last year, right. But it always seems to come down to the dramatics, and yet you guys find yourself in this position sitting atop the AFC.
Yeah, I mean, obviously after going 0-2 and obviously getting embarrassed on Monday night against Buffalo, it was just, obviously the state of the team wasn't in the best place. And, just as leaders of the team, we feel like we want to just, have a little players-only meeting and talk about the state of what was going on. And like you said, being able to rattle off 4 straight wins. But, I mean, a lot of things go into that. Obviously, it was early in the year. We wasn't panicking. We wasn't imploding or anything like that. We just had to, correct some things and make sure that we was playing our best ball. And obviously, the best thing about this 4-game winning streak, man, we have so much room for improvement. And, we talk about all the time the teams that continue to improve as the year goes along is going to be the teams that are going to be playing in January and February. So we're going to keep improving. We're not going to get complacent. We're not going to get caught up on just winning 4 games. We have a tough stretch coming up, so we're going to have to keep on improving, and we're going to have to get a big win on the road this weekend in Houston.
Titan safety Kevin Byard is here with us today on behalf of Campbell's Chunky, the Chunky Sacks Hunger Program. Kevin and Campbell's are teaming up to help fight food insecurity and donate 1 million meals to those in need. The video, speaking of videos and renderings and things like that, did you see this video of Rabel and Ben Jones?
So I was actually running through the tunnel as I was just kind of seeing them hugging each other.
That's right. You were right behind him in the video.
I
completely
was right
forgot.
behind him. Because, usually when Vrabel, after the game, Vrabel's standing right there by the door. He's, greeting everybody they're coming in, good job or whatever it may be. But I've seen that, and that was a pretty touching moment. I think Vrabel dropped some tears. I don't know if he's going to speak on that, but I feel like he dropped a couple tears.
0% chance he talks about that. Kevin, are you kidding? He's already miserable every time he's out there with you. You don't want to talk about that.
But everybody knows, man. Ben Jones, man, fights for us. I mean, he's obviously a captain, one of the veterans. He actually was on the team since I've been here.
Yeah.
Ben battles through a lot, man. He's one of the toughest guys I know. Some injuries or some nicks and bruises that he plays, but I have no clue how he does it. But he does it for the team because he loves winning and he loves his ball club. So definitely appreciative of Ben Jones and what he does for this team.
Ben's going to be on the radio show on Thursday. We're looking forward to talking to him. I was talking to Amani after the game, though, KB, and you just offhanded comment. He goes, I don't even think Ben's got an MCL anymore. I think he's just out there at this point. Like, this guy's a sicko.
No, he really is. Like, I remember, I don't know if this was last year, but I just remember one point we was going to practice one day, and Ben Jones, like, literally had his whole, like, left leg completely taped up. It was padded up, and I'm thinking in my head, like, bro, if you got to do all that to go to practice, like, you might need to take the day off. But he was out there practicing with tape and wraps and all this stuff on his leg. I was like, his pain tolerance is on a different level.
It really is. It really is something to watch. I mean, so you guys have another divisional opponent coming up this weekend. Houston. Divisional games are always something you have to be mindful of. What have you seen? Have you started on that yet? I know you guys just got back into the swing of things, and the work really starts on Wednesday. But what general observations do you have ahead of another divisional game?
Well, I'm going to dive in a whole lot of film later on this evening, but obviously, it's a division game. Going to Houston, we've had our troubles going to Houston at times. Obviously, most of those games tend to be close, regardless of the records of both teams. I've been watching highlights of the rookie, the undrafted running back, since preseason. He runs really hard. We're definitely going to have to stop the run for sure. And obviously, David Mills, last time we played down there, he torched us a little bit. So you're going to have to get after him and make sure that we, unsettle him and definitely don't let him feel comfortable down there in the pocket, and hopefully we can get some more sacks so we can continue to help with chunky sacks hunger or whatever. But and obviously Brandon Cooks, man. Brandon Cooks, we know he can stretch the field. He's going to be their deep threat guy. He's always been a reliable, great 1,000-yard receiver in this league, and they also have some other tall receivers out there on the edge, on the corner. So they have a pretty good offense, and obviously their record doesn't reflect it, but it's a division game, so we're not going to take this lightly at all. We're not going to look at records. We understand this team plays hard.
Hey, y'all got Matt Ryan fired on his off day, and so we've been taking some calls today, Kevin, asking people what has lasted longer than Matt Ryan's career with the Colts. Bruce in Nashville is next. Bruce, what lasted longer? Oh, I hit the wrong button. No, Bruce, go.
Hello.
What lasted longer than Matt Ryan's career as a Colt?
I gotta say Frank Gore as a Bill.
Frank Gore as a Bill.
Or as a boxer.
Or as a boxer lasted longer than Matt Ryan as a Colt. KB, I appreciate you screwing around with us today. Continue to do great work in the community, man. It is something that it's something that's really, really cool to see the way that you do it. I think is Kevin still there?
You just hung up on KB.
No, I did not.
Yes, you did. What is going on with you?
I hit the wrong button. There's too many buttons in here. You want to text him back and apologize?
I don't have his number.
I'll do it. We keep trying to get these Matt Ryan calls off, and I keep screwing it up. This is a terrible job. Anyway, that's Kevin Byard. He's doing great work with Campbell's Chinese. You think, why does anybody come on this stupid radio show?
I've never known.
Why?
They just keep doing it.
615-737-1045. I'm going to have to text an all-pro safety. My deepest apologies coming up next. Welcome back. I just had a buddy of mine text me, hanging up on the best safety in the league. Never change, buddy. Put it on the tombstone of this show. We should be fired after that. This is a terrible job.
Did Byard hit you back?
In my deepest apologies to him for hanging up.
Yes.
He's fine. He's probably ready for that to be over as soon as I said, hey, you guys got Matt Ryan fired on his off day. Although him and Jarrell used to throw all kinds of crazy shade at Blake Bortles in ways that would make him and Wesley Woodyard, it would make me laugh out loud the way that they would just actively, even before a game, troll the Jags that way. But I guess that's just the nature of that rivalry.
Karen says Matt Ryan's career with the Colts lasted longer than Buck's abrupt ending in an interview with KB.
Just barely, though. Goodness. 615-737-1045 is the number. So, yes, we have been doing this throughout the course of the day. Name something that lasted longer than Matt Ryan's career as a Colt for the opportunity to win some Vols tickets. We have had people tweeting us screenshots of their wait time on the phone. I am sorry that is the case today, but, we had to do something creative, and we're going to do it throughout the course of the show. What are you shaking your head vigorously at?
I'm shrugging. And what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Well, we're just going to have to keep rolling through some of these.
Got a lot going on today.
6-1. We do. Warren Moon at 12:20 today. How about that? We haven't slowed down once. Should we do it with Warren Moon on the phone?
I don't know. I don't know about that one.
What, are you scared?
No.
I did it with an NFL team president and an all-pro safety.
We did it with an all-pro safety, and a team president.
Now you're scared?
We might as well do it with
Okay, thank you for playing along.
We also have Tennessee commit Kaleb Beasley coming up in a few minutes.
Yes, which is something that I know a lot of Vols fans are very excited about, and I know Lucas spent some time with him on this past Friday's Friday Night Football coverage here on 104.5 The Zone. Jackie in Jamestown. What is something that lasted longer than Matt Ryan's Colts career?
What's up, boss?
What's up, buddy?
Not a whole lot, man. So you threw a curveball at me today.
Did he just drop?
Jackie dropped.
Okay.
This is miserable.
But maybe if we do it with Warren Moon, it'll work great. If we go 1 for 3 on the day, that's pretty good.
Background noise, bad signal, drop. The trifecta of the worst thing you could possibly have as a caller.
It's like a motorcycle waited to rip by him right when I clicked him on.
Sorry, Jackie.
No, you're not sorry. This is funny. Are you not having fun? You look miserable. You're not having fun?
Well, Robert's not here, so no, I'm not having as much fun.
Evan in Tullahoma. Let's try again.
Hey, guys, this is a great segment, but I have to say John Gruden's rumored head coaching career at the University of Tennessee lasted longer than Matt Ryan's career as a Colts quarterback.
The groomers absolutely lasted longer than Matt Ryan's Colts career.
And there were multiple installments of groomers. There were groomers when Dooley was fired before they hired Butch, and there were groomers after Butch was fired before they hired Pruitt.
It really is horrendous. And I know every franchise, every college football program, they go for the famous name, or they start to lust after the famous name when your coach becomes fired or you're looking to upgrade your situation, whatever the case may be. But man, the groomers was particularly funny. And that was before we found out about all of John Gruden's problematic behavior as an employee of Mickey Mouse and the Disney Corporation. Tough scene. Speaking of tough scenes, what do you do with the Austin Hooper situation, given that most recently he was reported as a potential trade block player, and now he goes out and he performs, important. He provides important snaps in critical moments where you need conversions. He comes up with a miraculous catch that helps them set up one of their field goals that help them further cement that lead over Indianapolis when the offense couldn't score, couldn't convert in the red zone. What do you do with Austin Hooper now? Because, on one side of things, you're increasing his trade value. On the other side of things, you don't have any damn wide receivers, and you need somebody competent to catch the football. I'm kind of caught up with this because I still think they need help at left tackle, and then all of a sudden you're seeing these Albert Breer reports about the idea that they're interested or there's some interest in trading for Robert Quinn. So you need a left tackle. You've got a tight end that prior to Sunday nobody wanted, and you're sniffing around a 32-year-old Robert Quinn, who, by the way, it's wild that he's only 32 years old. It's absolutely insane.
Been in the league since 2011.
He had 18 and a half sacks, you said, last season?
Last season, he had 18 and a half sacks.
For the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
The overwhelming Chicago Bears last night. It's the first time they've looked that good all year.
They're good in the rain.
When the conditions are bad,
yeah.
Justin Fields is your guy. But the Austin Hooper thing, man. Eric gives us a stat in the YouTube chat. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch is where you can live stream the radio show. He says Austin Hooper averaged 3.51 yards of separation, the only Titan who averaged more yards of separation than the NFL average of 2.91 in Week 7. So the wide receivers aren't getting separation. All of a sudden, Austin Hooper's running wide open through your secondary, and you're going to look around and say, yeah, that guy's the one that we need to ship off because he doesn't block. It's a weird spot that they're in.
I mean, if he's going to continue to get as many snaps as he has, which isn't very many, and I guess I didn't go back and see how many offensive snaps he got. Was that up at all, Hooper, against the Colts on Sunday?
If you stall for me, I can find out.
Because I think it would greatly depend on that. How do they view Austin Hooper in this offense moving forward? If he's going to continue to get snaps behind Jeff Swaim and behind Chig Okonkwo, then all Sunday's performance did was raise that potential trade value, before that November 1st deadline.
Okay, very good. I have Austin Hooper's percentage of snaps.
I bet he played more than he has. I bet he played more than he has all season.
On Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
You would be wrong.
Really?
He has played more snaps 1, 2, 3 times this season.
So that's the fourth most snaps he's had in 6 games.
Correct. The fourth most snaps in 6 games. Austin Hooper played 44% of the offensive snaps for the Titans, down from 53% against the Washington Commander football skins team, and up from 37%, which was the last time that the Titans played the Colts. In order, 62% of the snaps, 50%, 41%, 37%, 53%, 44%. So it literally it seems that they're just doing it matchup-wise. Like there's no rhyme or reason to, other than Jeff Swaim is tight end 1 for all time, and bleep you if you think otherwise. What they're doing with Austin Hooper seems to be based on the opponent, because 37% the last time against the Colts versus 44% in this game, where he had as many catches as he has had in any game this season. He had more catches than he's had in any game this season. 3 for 3, 56 yards, which eclipsed his, to that point, entire season total. He had 55 yards on the season prior to that Colts game. So I really don't know what you do with the guy. And for the problems that they have, I don't know whether that was just I don't know what Robert Quinn's representation is looking for by somebody leaking that to Albert Breer. Albert Breer is close with Mike Vrabel and John Robinson, given that Breer, prior to being the lead writer at the MMQB, was a Patriots beat reporter, or at least a New England-based NFL reporter for a very, very long time. I think even prior to his time at the NFL Network. So Breer's been around long enough to where he's connected in enough spots. That's a meaningful tidbit that was out there on the internet, I think, yesterday afternoon. But what does it mean about what their personnel decisions or what they're looking at for their personnel decisions moving forward? Because I don't think it benefits them to get rid of Austin Hooper now.
Mr. Two-Tone on Twitter says Josh Norman's time in orbit lasted longer than Matt Ryan's time with the Colts.
Wait. So orbit would mean the Bills game, right?
Yes.
Where Derrick Henry stiff-armed him in the sun?
Correct.
He also, didn't he have a terrible experience as a Washington player here with Lewan?
He did. When Lewan, after the Titans won at home, Lewan going up to him and was doing the, because Norman had the bow and arrow celebration,
thing,
right?
Which since then has been outlawed by the league because you can't have too much fun in the league.
And Lewan's doing that in his face after the game, and Norman was not happy about it. He's had bad experiences in Music City.
615-737-1045. What lasted longer than Matt Ryan's career? We've had terrible success with the phone calls today. Maybe they'll improve because nobody has yet won these Vols tickets.
Yeah, I think the groomers one is good. I think that might lead now.
Well, Greg Schiano, we haven't had anybody top Greg Schiano
Well, that
yet.
was funny, but it's
not true.
It's not factual. Yeah, the Schiano thing was,
So you want it to be funny and be accurate.
It must be accurate.
Okay. Jason in Nashville. Let's see if he satisfies those requirements.
Okay, so Buck, this is a serious situation for me. So the smell that is left in my clothes after my wife cooks chitterlings, or in the South they call chitlins, is definitely going to be longer than Matt Ryan's career. It will not go down. No hope to take that out.
That is laugh out loud.
That's good.
That's a really, really good nominee. The smell that is baked into your clothes after your wife makes chitlins, like they call them down here. I love that. That may have just become the leader in the clubhouse, yeah?
I think so.
Do you have that experience with any other food? Like, not to, derail us from potential Subway sponsorships, but Subway is always the name that I think most people associate with food smells that linger once you've left the establishment, right? At least that's always been a common one that I've heard.
Subway smells far better than it tastes when you walk in. The Subway smells great.
After me trying to protect any potential Subway sponsorship, you're just taking them out at the knees.
Well, they participated in the Danger Witch, so I have no interest. Anyone who's involved with that whatsoever.
So help me God. I would do the Danger Witch commercial if it meant Subway spent money on this show. Get out of here. What are you talking about? They're out here doing, Russell Wilson and Trevor Lawrence Subway commercials because they're out of Marcus Mariota's, although it may not be a bad time to link up with Marcus Mariota again on the Subway deal. What'd you just whisper into my ear? Beasley.
You are so out of sorts today.
I've not been good today. I don't know why. 615-737-1045. Our high school football hero this week, as we did not do last week, but this week, Kaleb Beasley, a Tennessee commit who Lucas had the opportunity to catch up with as a part of our Friday night football coverage. Here's that conversation for you.
So it starts with the audio from Beasley's announcement on the field after Lipscomb Academy's 43-21 win against CPA, the four-star corner that plays for Trent Dilfer's Mustangs.
I want to thank my mom and my dad for, through this whole process of keeping my head on straight and supporting me. I want to thank Coach Dilfer for bringing me in as a freshman and teaching me the ropes of the game. I want to thank Coach Joey for not only pushing me on the football field, but also in the classroom. I want to thank Jay Holt, Deion Gibbs, Coach Nate, and everybody, for just getting my
best
footwork
defensive
right.
coordinator in the country.
Is he coming up?
Okay.
And then, last but not least, I want to thank Coach Shioni, that father figure to me, somebody I can sit down and talk to.
Yes, good. That's good.
And I just want to thank all the coaches that have been recruiting me throughout this process. And last but not least, I want to thank you guys, my brothers. I've been fine with y'all for, 3 years, and the relationships I've built in this community it's been ridiculous. And with that being said, I'll be committed to the University of Tennessee.
That is four-star corner Kaleb Beasley just moments ago announcing his commitment to the University of Tennessee after Lipscomb Academy's win at CPA tonight, 43-21, the final score. And Kaleb Beasley joins me now on 104.5 The Zone. Kaleb, first of all, man, congrats on the win. Congrats on the announcement. A huge night for your high school football and college football career. So from all of us at The Zone, congrats, buddy.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Hey, Kaleb, what were the most critical factors that went into this decision to commit to Tennessee tonight?
Definitely just the family relationship Tennessee has. It's crazy. The relationship I have with Coach Martinez and Coach Heupel is crazy.
Willie Martinez, the defensive backs coach, one of your primary recruiters. What is it about Coach Martinez that made you want to come play for him?
The family aspect that he has. He always checking up on me and my family, always making sure we're okay, and I love it.
Alabama game last week. Kaleb, you were in attendance. The field gets stormed. I mean, were you on the field after that football game?
Yes, sir, I was. I was on there for about 10 minutes, and it got a little too crowded, so I went to the locker room to have fun with the team.
How was that? How was that locker room experience with your future team?
Yeah, it was amazing, just the atmosphere in there after they beat a big team, Alabama, it was crazy. It was ridiculous.
What kind of player is Tennessee getting in Kaleb Beasley?
Definitely a ball hawk, somebody who's going to put in hard work every day in and out. And build this recruiting class up.
Four-star corner for Lipscomb Academy, Kaleb Beasley joins me now after a win and his commitment to the University of Tennessee. Hey, big win tonight against CPA, an interception for you in the second half, Kaleb, your fourth of the year. Ball came out there at the end. Edwin Spillman recovers the fumble. What does Edwin Spillman get? What kind of favor are you going to pay him back after picking that ball up?
Definitely someday I'm going to take him out to eat right now. Yeah.
Hey, Tennessee recruiting him hard. Obviously, his older brother, your teammate Nate, already committed to the Vols. Now that you've got your commitment out of the way, you're recruiting your junior classmate or what?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, him and Boo Carter are the ones I'm recruiting hard right now, so I'm going to work on that.
Kaleb, playing for Trent Dilfer, his pedigree is what it is. Super Bowl winning quarterback, developer of quarterbacks, Elite 11. What's it like playing for Coach Dilfer from a defensive perspective?
It's definitely like with me, it's he teaches me the mental part of the game. He teaches me what the quarterback's going to do. Here, when he drops in the 3 or he drops 5, I know what routes are coming. So from the offensive standpoint,
what is left for you, Kaleb, to prove individually for the rest of your high school football career with this season and next season to go? I
would just say win a state championship, keep getting better, and help my teammates get recruited. That's my main goal right now.
You getting back on campus anytime soon at Tennessee?
Yeah, I think I'm going next week for the Kentucky game.
All right. Well, there you go. Yeah. Kaleb Beasley back in Knoxville for the first time since committing to the Vols. Kaleb, I hear the celebration happening around you. Huge win tonight to stay undefeated, 43-21 the final, and your commitment, of course, to Tennessee. So congratulations again. Go enjoy it with your team.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
No, thank you. Kaleb Beasley with us on 104.5 The Zone.
He was not going to let you get through that closeout, man. He did not want to let you get through that.
Hey, he was either in the locker room or on the team bus going nuts.
Holy
after
hell.
a big win at CPA to stay undefeated.
How cool is that? That's the kind of momentum. I mean, we talked about wide receivers and looking for a little bit more juice after the Nico Iamaleava commitment, the 5-star quarterback who many of us have talked about ad nauseum at this point. Now you've seen the momentum, obviously, from so many recruits who attended the Alabama game. Now Kentucky is must-see television this week with Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler on the call. And Tennessee, as the number 3 team in the country, still undefeated at this point with a few more interesting games to go.
Yeah, Beasley is the number 2 overall player in the state in his class, which is 2024. His teammate, linebacker Edwin Spillman, who I mentioned in that interview, recovered the fumble. Beasley picked it off in the second half, fumbled the football at the end, and Spillman fell on it. Spillman's the number 1 player in the state of Tennessee. Linebacker, his older brother Nate's a receiver, already committed to the Vols. So if Tennessee can lock down that Lipscomb Academy trio of Nate Spillman in the class of 2023, who's already committed, Kaleb, who's already committed, and then Edwin, who has been pursued very heavily by the Vols, 4-star linebacker, then that will just provide a lot more of that in-state momentum you've seen them be able to create.
Kaleb Beasley with Lucas Panziga. Where's the 104.5 The Zone high school game of the week?
We are headed to Greenhill High School. I am pumped for this one. Regular season finale, Greenhill and Mount Juliet. Another Tennessee commit, Aiden Bussell, the left tackle for Mount Juliet. But this is the Region 5-5A championship game. I mean, these schools are a couple miles away from each other. Wilson County showdown. Winner take all in 5-5A between Greenhill and Mount Juliet. We'll go pregame at 6:45, kickoff at 7, and then Will is going to be with you until 11 p.m. for Friday Night Finals.
There it is. The dynamic duo making it happen on Friday Night Football.
Yeah, great to have Will back after his bout with bronchitis.
Ooh, that's not great for anybody in our business. Maybe I need to give Will less crap on a regular basis then, because clearly he's been struggling. You don't think so?
No, he went through it for a few days there. He went through it for a few days, but he's back at it.
Jonathan in Smyrna, what lasted longer than Matt Ryan's Colts career? Jonathan.
You got to be kidding me.
Hello?
Hey, bud.
Hey, so I got 2 things. I got 2 that lasted longer than Matt Ryan's career.
No, pick one. Pick one.
Oh, pick one?
Pick one.
Oh, okay. Dorial Green Beckham. His career lasted longer than Matt Ryan.
That was a good one to pick. Thank you. 615. It's honestly funny to me how badly it makes you squirm in your seat back there. We're going to talk about some numbers that make 0 sense for the Tennessee Titans coming up next.
It is 12:04. Good afternoon from the Superbook.com sports desk. I'm Lucas Panzica. Breaking news, according to Mike Garofalo of NFL Network, the Tennessee Titans are signing veteran wide receiver Chris Conley off the Chiefs practice squad. Conley, who started the season with the Houston Texans, this is his third team in the 2022 season, all in the AFC. In other news in the AFC South, the Jacksonville Jaguars made a move yesterday, trading away running back James Robinson to the New York Jets on Monday for a conditional 6th-round pick. The Jets making the move after the ACL injury to rookie Breece Hall. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Final hour off and rolling here on 104.5 The Zone. Welcome back. Call it third down on this Tuesday. We have had an eventful show thus far, and we have missed. I mean, that is substantial news that you just heard in the middle of Lucas Panzica's update. Now, he lied to you, as he often does during these breaking news updates, because you told them it was breaking news. But the news did not break in the time frame as to which you alluded to.
An hour ago, I believe that counts.
That's a lie.
That is not a lie.
No. If it exceeded an hour, it's no longer breaking news. It's news from an hour ago. We all have Twitter. You get news every 30 seconds.
We don't all have Twitter, Buck. You do this so often. We do not all have Twitter. I don't know what percentage of our audience has Twitter, but I guarantee you it is not 100%.
I feel like that number has to be skewed higher, though, because of sports fans. Like sports fans, you get your news, I think, primarily from social media now.
That is fair, but I feel like everybody has the saying of, hey, Twitter's not real life. I feel like you are very much in the mode of Twitter is real life.
No. In fact, I have to often tell myself that Twitter is not real life because the world cannot be. The world is maybe not in the best of places right now for a variety of different reasons. It cannot be as bad a place as it actually is on Twitter. That I'm very cognizant of. So, Chris Conley signed from the Chiefs practice squad, as Lucas mentioned. That would indicate the kind of wide receiver move that I think you should, which is fair to expect right now. That's a veteran. He's played a lot of football. He can come in immediately. It fits the kind of criteria that Mike Vrabel has before expressed about what you look for in-season roster acquisitions. Andrew Adams, who seems to be this year's, is it fair for me to call him? I know it's early and he's not played a ton, but like him and Terrence Mitchell, are they like the Buster Screen of this year? The Dontrell Hilliard and Deontay Foreman of this season?
Sure.
I think those are fair assessments, right? Mike's done everything but make the stray cats analogy that made me laugh every time he did it last season.
I mean, for all the issues the Titans have had and the holes on the roster that have come with the draft process, are they the most proficient team in the NFL right now at getting guys off the street to just produce?
You know, everybody has to do it to an extent, so I don't know that definitively to be so. But I mean, they have to be up there.
But
right.
Teams haven't had to do it to the extent that the Titans have had to do it the last 2 seasons.
There is not a team in history that has had to roster churn the way that the Tennessee Titans did last season.
Well, no, that's not really true because the Saints had to the Saints played about as many players as the Titans did. They just didn't make the playoffs. The Titans got to the postseason with that. They got to the number 1 seed with that. I need to look up how many players the Saints rostered. Because the Saints
was not 91. 91 would have been a new record because, like, the previous record was like 82. So if the Saints, because the Niners and the Dolphins, 2 different years, but the Niners and the Dolphins previously held the record, the NFL record for most players rostered in a season. The Titans broke that with relative ease, getting to 91 for the amount of injuries that they had to deal with last year. So I would be surprised if the Saints also broke the record because then, I mean, the Ravens were just as nearly injured as the Titans. I would argue the Ravens probably had a better shot at hitting that number than the Saints did last season. But maybe Lucas will find that and be able to give us an update on it. So you have wide receiver help. I don't know how. I mean, it would play into the kind of conversation that we were talking about earlier with Austin Hooper, who was discussed as a potential trade target, then starts to show some playmaking ability in the most recent game. Our buddy Mike Herndon texted me this in the middle of that last segment. He said Chig Okonkwo outsnapped Hooper for the first time this season on Sunday. Felt like they were phasing Hooper out to Mike until Hooper started making plays. Definitely interested to see where that goes. And I do think that's a good point, because they have been phasing Chig more in and Hooper more out as the season had progressed. And then all of a sudden, you have this like hot hand type of situation, which oftentimes the coaching staff has shown a willingness to lean into. David Long is a product of a hot hand situation. He's just playing better than Jayon Brown. So they looked around after David, I think, played like 91% of the snaps against the Cardinals in last year's season opener. It's like, hey, this guy's pretty damn good. We probably ought to leave him out on the field, even though it was blasphemous, I think, for a lot of people who love Jayon Brown. Understandably so. He's a fan favorite for a while. To remove Jayon Brown from the lineup and put David Long in when it was clear by October that Jayon Brown was healthy and wasn't getting his job back for a reason. So now you have that situation potentially with Hooper. Now you have wide receiver help that I know many of you have been clamoring for that is better than the corpse, the ghost of Josh Gordon, who I think existed on your practice squad. This guy, unlike Gordon, I think has a legitimate opportunity to be called up and contribute in the way that I think a lot of you guys expected Gordon to do.
He had 22 catches, 323 yards, and a pair of touchdowns for Houston last season.
And he's been in the league for how many seasons, did you say?
Since 2015.
Okay, so he's been around for a long time.
Yeah, I was with Kansas City those first 4 years, a couple years in Jacksonville. His most productive year came in Jacksonville, 775 yards in 2019.
Who was the quarterback?
5 touchdowns. In 2019.
It would have been.
Was it Nick Foles?
It might have been
for a little
Nick
while, because
Foles.
he had that big contract.
Yeah.
I don't know if that matches up.
He got paid in a big way. That sounds right, although Nick Foles, I feel like, was a pandemic quarterback situation. I can't remember. 2019 feels like eons ago.
2019 was Foles. Yeah.
Look at that. Okay. So you now have a solution. Are you satisfied with the solution that the Titans have now provided you at wide receiver, as you have to miss at least, 2 more games without Treylon Burks? So you will miss Houston, or Treylon Burks will miss Houston at Houston, and he will miss Sunday Night Football in Kansas City, which is the Titans' next 2 contests. Is this sufficient enough for you to look at a Austin Hooper situation and say, okay, sell high with the deadline 2 weeks away? We've got a little extra depth at wide receiver now that should be able to help this offense look, somewhat less constipated. This is a brutal watch on a regular basis, and you have to think that with more competent pass catchers, beyond what Mason Kinsey and Cody Hollister, I'm not talking down on them or talking badly about them. It's just the nature of what it is. Is Chris Conley substantially better than Cody Hollister and Mason Kinsey? He certainly has a lot more experience than those two, although at this point, they're 2 of the longest tenured wide receivers on this roster. 615-737-1045. Trent is in Smithville. What lasted longer than Matt Ryan's Colts career?
What lasted longer was Milli Vanilli's Grammy reign.
Short and sweet. I like it.
See? He got it. There was a slight delay. He didn't panic under pressure. He delivered the punchline and he got out. Bravo.
You said that was Trent?
That was Trent in Smithville.
Yeah, that's up there.
Trent is up there with Milli Vanilli's Oscar run.
No, Grammy run.
Grammy run. What, you didn't think Milli Vanilli faked their way into the EGOT? They got the Oscar, they got the Emmy, they got the Grammy. What's the third one? What's the fourth one?
Emmy, Oscar, Grammy,
Golden Globe?
I don't know if that's on the level. I don't think Golden Globe is the same prestige as one of those 3.
ESPY.
Yeah, nobody cares about the ESPYs.
Warren Moon, Hall of Famer. Titans and Oilers legend Warren Moon, who was in town for Alumni Weekend, will join us coming up next. We forgot about the Tonys. The stage. How could one forget? Do you watch any of those award shows?
No, I used to watch the Oscars. When I was a kid, I liked the ESPYs.
Pre-pandemic, I used to get into but I mean, and maybe that was younger, like when MTV and VH1 were still a thing. Now we're really dating ourselves. Like the VH1 Music Video Awards, I always used to think were cool because you get contemporary artists to perform. Now I'm at the stage in my life where I'm looking around and being like, oh, I mean, we already did the Young Gravy bit with you. Like, who the hell is Young Gravy?
What? No, what is a Young Gravy?
It's a TikTok superstar who's making more money than you and I, my friend.
The Oscars did give us a top 5 pop culture moment in all of history.
Will
just
Smith
last year,
smacking the holy hell out of Chris Rock. Yeah, I hear they still haven't talked because as I read my TMZ updates every morning, because I thought I was preparing myself to come in here and talk about Kanye because Adidas dropped him today for all the problematic things that he's doing. Then I said, you know what? Best to not start that fight today. There will be another time. Warren Moon, Hall of Famer, is going to join us here in just a little bit. Was in town for the Oilers Titans homecoming event, a game that the Titans emerged 19-10, victorious 4-2 on the season. And I'd be curious to get his perspective because obviously he's still paying attention to the game throughout the course of this, and obviously continues to follow the Titans and what the Titans have become since converting from the Houston Oilers and staying very close to that franchise and to that ownership. Amy Adams-Strunk has done a really, really nice job making sure that those guys are still so heavily involved. So I'd be curious to get his thoughts on the atmosphere and frankly on the offense, because what Warren was doing during his time was revolutionary, and it feels like just offensive scoring around the league this year is down across the board. Guys like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers struggling mightily in ways that we are not accustomed to. You'll have the crazy Joe Burrow performance from time to time. Lamar Jackson is somebody who's capable of being a source of offense. He and Josh Allen both being a singular source of offense at any given moment that kind of transcends what a lot of NFL teams are capable of doing. But we'll talk to the Hall of Famer right now. Warren Moon joins us on 104.5 The Zone. Warren, always a great pleasure to speak with you, sir.
Great to talk to you this morning. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing well. We are taking a look around at what's happening in the league right now, Warren. And, the Titans obviously have their limitations and their struggles, but at 4-2 and having just won another divisional game, it seems like there are a lot of teams out there that have greater issues than this particular one seems to.
Yeah, and they're just coached so well by Mike Vrabel. He does a great job of coaching the guys on both sides of the football. They don't beat themselves a lot with a lot of penalties. They're going to keep things pretty basic, offensively. Don't really have a lot of explosive guys on the offensive side of the ball, but when you've got number 22 over there, you've always got a chance.
So what you talk about Mike Vrabel, Warren, and I think it's a cliche that gets thrown around a lot in sports, like players play harder for coach X, Y, or Z, right? But I don't know if you had the opportunity to see the video that went viral of Mike Vrabel and center Ben Jones in the tunnel afterwards. Ben clearly playing through all manner of physical and a lot of ailments at this point in his career after being in the league for as long as he has at 33 years old. And the way that Mike embraces these guys, it's so significant to me because he's somebody who's done it himself. And that seems to resonate with that group of guys or whomever comes through that locker room across the now 5 seasons that he's been coaching.
Yeah, I didn't get to see the video, but, I heard the story. And, Mike's just that type of guy. Even my daughter, he met her on the field Sunday before the game, and she had never met him before. And he got into a conversation with her and asking her, questions back and forth about volleyball and the things that she did because she was a volleyball player and now coaches volleyball. And she just couldn't believe how personable he was before a football game. And she's been around a lot of different coaches, having been around me. So, Mike is a unique guy. He's a people's person. He's a player's coach, but he also demands you to do things the right way. And I think his players understand that, and that's why they play for him, because they know he'll take care of them if they do all the right things they're supposed to do.
Warren Moon, Hall of Famer, here with us on 104.5 The Zone. The physical part of it, I mean, guys know, or people know who watch football, what it is that this sport does to a body. But I just don't think there's any way to possibly kind of get that message across, especially, I mean, coming from a time where the rules were so different during the time that you played, Warren, and even, you know, as different as it was 5 years ago with the amount of rule changes that have done to protect specifically quarterbacks, but to try and protect players as much as humanly possible. I just don't think there's any way for you know, the audience to fully grasp what it is that some of these guys play through or have played through, and, you know, that they'll carry for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, it's a brutal game. There's no question about it, and it takes a huge toll on your body. It can also take a huge toll on your brain and your mind, depending on what your injuries are. So I've seen what the game has done to a lot of guys that I've played either with or against. You know, I'm in the Pro Football Hall of Fame now. I get a chance to see, you know, guys who played all the way back into the 60s, you know, and a lot of those guys are not doing very well physically. So it's a game that you know is going to take a toll on your body. You don't really know it when you first get into it, but I think if you asked every guy if they'd do it again, they probably would. They might be a little bit more careful with the way they played, but I think they'd all still try and do it again because they love the game, and I think that's the key.
So, obviously in town for the Oilers and Titans alumni reunion situation that the Adam Strunk family has done so well to I think make even a bigger event year after year. It seems like it was received positively by everybody who participated or attended. What was your experience like? Because I know you've been to a lot of these things before.
Yeah, it was a great experience again, and you know, hats off to Amy for bringing everybody together. This is the first time we've had the Titans and the Oilers in the same Hall of Fame. I mean, make that reunion weekend, and it was just great to be able to get the guys together, not only from the two teams, but also get a chance to meet some of the guys who were Titans that I didn't really know, and the same thing with the Titans. They were really excited about meeting some of the Oilers that they didn't know from back in the day, guys that they've heard about over the years. So just a great idea, and you know, it just really makes the guys on the Oilers teams feel like they're part of this family. And for a long time, there wasn't a feeling of that because nobody had really reached out to the former Oiler players to create a reunion weekend. So now these guys have an identity. That identity is the Tennessee Titans, and Amy has made them feel so at home. And it's just a special weekend when you can, you know, come back to to a place where you feel like you're wanted.
That part is so it's significant. There's no question for the guys who played for the franchise across its history, going back to the 1960s and the Houston Oilers, and then Tennessee Oilers, and now Tennessee Titans. But you know, for the fan base, Warren, where you're trying to bring two groups together in a different kind of a way, and you're trying to, you know, convey some of the history that so many of you guys are associated with, that a lot of people who may be, you know, new to the Titans or the Titans as a newer era franchise going back a little over 20 years at this point. It was cool to kind of see some of the reactions from people, from parents and grandparents talking to their kids about, well, that's Dan Pastorini. That's one of the greatest quarterbacks that's ever played for this franchise, except they were the Houston Oilers at the time. And, you know, and Warren Moon and Blaine Bishop and guys who transcended, like Blaine is one of these dudes who's been an Oiler and a Titan. There's not a ton of those guys out there, and to have that kind of gap bridged, it was cool to see the whole process from our perspective sitting in the press box on Sunday.
Yeah, it really was, and I think that's another thing that's happened because of the mixture together. You know, people are getting a chance to learn the history, and if they don't know the history, there's this thing called Google now that you can go back and learn everything about the history of the Oilers if you don't know anything. And then once the teams come together like they do, you have more of an idea of what happened in the past and what's going on in the future. So I really feel good for the guys who never played for another football team but the Oilers, because now they have a place that they can call home, and that's the thing that's really delightful to me because, I played for other teams, so I can go to other reunion weekends if I wanted to identify with another football team. But the major part of my career was 10 years, with the Houston Oilers, and that's what I really call home, and that's why I make sure I come back for that reunion all the time.
The Hall of Famer Warren Moon is here with us on 104.5 The Zone. Warren, Tannehill experienced an injury on the first play of the fourth quarter. Malik Willis comes in for a snap, and Tannehill does come back in to finish that game. As a player, though, it feels like when a player wants to, especially in a divisional game, you're going to try everything humanly possible to make yourself available. As a coach, though, how incumbent is it upon them to protect the players from themselves if they may not physically be ready to go by the time the next Sunday comes around? Just as a general statement, not necessarily specific to this one.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the way we're built. We're built to, be gladiators, to not show pain, to go out there no matter what. And if you can walk out on the field, you feel like you should go out there and play. And it's going to be up to the doctors, and I think that's who Coach Vrabel and all head coaches around the league kind of rely on their opinions whether a guy can go or not. So they try and take that decision off of themselves and put it over to the medical people. So I think Mike is going to listen to his medical people, and what they say is going to really happen as far as if Ryan is going to be able to go this next weekend.
He's Warren Moon, kind enough to spend some time with us here on 104.5 The Zone after a successful reunion weekend for the Titans and Houston Oilers legends. Warren, always a great pleasure to chat with you, and we appreciate you making some time on this Tuesday.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. And again, that was just a great weekend. And the Titans are, they're on a roll now. They're playing some really good football, and there's a lot of good positive things happening with the new stadium and everything. So it's great to be a Titan right now.
There's no question about it. A lot of buzz about that new stadium. Thank you, Warren. Take care.
Thank you.
Warren Moon with us on 104.5 The Zone. Even Warren Moon's fired up about the new stadium.
Appropriate as the Titans get ready to head down to Houston.
Yes. That was one of the coolest things about that Week 18 game last year. And the Texans were obviously a miserable. I mean, they're not doing much better this year. What, 1-4-1? Mm-hmm. Oof. But Week 18 last year, the amount of – I went to the Houston, Texas – so there's a couple of, fan groups, and they use things like Facebook to kind of keep in touch with one another and plan events when the Titans are on the road and things like that. There's a group of Titans fans in San Antonio and the Rio Grande Valley and obviously Houston that they come together. They put on a big event every year at various bars across the city of Houston. And when I tell you that they packed out the lower bowl with Titans Oilers fans in NRG Stadium last year, and the eruption of applause after the Titans beat the Texans, won the AFC South back-to-back seasons. I think they still needed some things to fall in their favor before the number one seed in the AFC was officially clinched. But that was the last game of the season. They'd done everything that they needed to do at that point, and there was a tremendous amount of people there to celebrate with them, which is, I don't know, it's a really cool thing. It's a unique wrinkle in sports history that not a lot of people have the ability to do. I guess it's you don't think of the Seattle Supersonics and the Oklahoma City Thunder in the same way that you do the Houston Oilers and the Tennessee Titans, right? Maybe going back historically, to the Brooklyn. Was it the Brooklyn Dodgers then became the Los Angeles Dodgers?
Yeah, the difference is the Oilers changed their name. Most of the time, the names don't get changed. It's the same franchise. The name just doesn't get changed. Like the St. Louis Rams, the LA Rams, or the St. Louis Rams, back to the LA Rams. Still the same franchise, always the Rams, but I think the name change is where people associate the identity change, right? If it was the Tennessee Oilers, I don't think there would be any debate about whose franchise this is.
Oh, that's such an annoying yearly annual conversation we have with one, J.J. Watt tweets out, well, I guess J.J. doesn't play for the Texans anymore, but Texans player X tweets out a picture of them photoshopped in the Houston Oilers logo, and then Houston people say, "Oh, this belongs in the city of Houston." This isn't the Titans' history, and it's just the wheels on the bus go round and round.
It's complicated because yes, those are the fans that you played for, right? Like Warren Moon played for the fans. Generations of fans in Houston know Warren Moon as their quarterback,
right?
So that's what complicates things. St. Louis fans consider the Rams their team, and I'm sure a lot of them had an identity crisis of their own fanhood when they went back to Los Angeles. But like, it's a stupid argument. Like, the Colts were in Baltimore, and now they're in Indianapolis. You know, whether or not Baltimore has an NFL franchise, they would not claim the Colts because they're not in Baltimore.
Spencer in Murfreesboro, name one thing longer than Matt Ryan's Colts career. Oh, Spencer, you waited an hour.
Yes, sir. I did not hear you.
Okay, name one thing, bud.
All right. I had to do some research in my wait time to make sure I was factually correct. Isaiah Wilson's Titans career, and quite possibly his rap career as Gigi Bowser.
Both of those things outlasted Matt Ryan as an Indianapolis Colt.
Both
Bravo.
true. Yep, both true.
Well done, Spencer. I hope that was worth the hour wait. Let's go to Bo in Bell Buckle for the chance to win some Vols tickets. Bo, what lasted longer than Matt Ryan's Colts career? You're too far away from the speaker.
Hey, hold on.
I'm
driving, so can you?
Yeah,
can you
I can hear you now.
We're not,
Yes.
Come on, Bo, give it to us.
Hey, Jim Irsay's stint in rehab was longer than Matt Ryan's career as a starter.
Oh, no. No, Bo. Why'd you do that to Jim Irsay? Jim Irsay's out here doing the people's work, trying to get Dan Snyder run out of the house. Because you know why? Because the rehab stint for Jim Irsay's already out there. And bleep you, Dan Snyder. What are you going to do to me? That video of him hobbling to his golf cart in the bowels of Nissan Stadium after his team again has been swept by the Tennessee Titans after he just gets on Twitter and tries to rile Colts fans up. The stint in rehab was longer than Matt Ryan's Colts career. Shameful. What? Okay. Last call for phone calls. We'll pick a winner for the Vols Kentucky tickets. We will do some polls, and we'll call it a day here on 104.5 The Zone. All right, we'll wrap it up for today. That was a fun one, man. I don't know. Lucas, did you have a good time?
I did. Jam-packed show.
Robert, did you have a good time?
Every time I'm in here is a good time.
Now I know he's a liar.
Hey, you dog. I almost cussed, and then he put his microphone on.
If you want to be a part of any of the 3 hours that we, spectacularly messed up throughout the course of today, Titans president Burke Nihill, All-Pro safety Kevin Byard, and the Hall of Famer Warren Moon in that last segment, all available to you all 3 hours. And any of the Fine Zone offerings, be it the 4 daily shows or Lucas Panzica's Inside Zone, you have the Nashville Soccer Show, you've got the podcast that I do on Wednesdays with Greg Cosell, all of that available in your favorite podcast app. So we still have Vols tickets to give away as a part of Tennessee Ticket Tuesday. To the caller that gives us the best thing that lasted longer than Matt Ryan's Colts career. Lucas, who are the 3 leaders in the clubhouse right now? Because I asked you, you gave me like 17 names, and then you tried to add another one.
Okay, so leaders are Trent, who said Milli Vanilli's Grammy-winning career.
Yep.
Longer than Matt Ryan's starting career as a Colts quarterback. Spencer said that Isaiah Wilson's career with the Titans lasted longer, which is true.
And his rap career, 2 for 1.
As well as his rap career. And Jason said the smell on his clothes after his wife makes chitlings lasts longer than Matt Ryan's Colts career.
That's a pretty good one. All right, let's see if anybody can unseat them in the final minutes here. David in Clarksville, what lasted longer than Matt Ryan's Colts career?
Y'all hear me?
Sure can.
We always can.
Oh, God, I ruined it already. Hey, what's up, Buck and Lucas? Man, go Vols.
Hi, buddy.
I'm going to say that current Colts wide receiver coaches Reggie Wayne's need for that nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea medication when he claimed that Matt Ryan reminds him of Peyton Manning.
No, the quote, and thank you for the call, David. No matter how clunky it started off, the finish was strong. Bravo. Lucas, what are you getting an attitude back there for? Yes, we can always hear you.
I love that. It's always the first, can you hear me? We can literally always hear you.
That's not true, because a lot of times I hit the wrong
That's
button.
True. That quote by Reggie Wayne is wild.
Well, because he left out the best part. Reggie Wayne said prior to the season that it makes him want to throw up how much Matt Ryan reminds him of Peyton Manning.
Like, that's a quote that you look at and you think that's not a real quote. Like, some troll Twitter account made up that quote.
I thought it was a fake,
I did too.
Graphic.
Yeah.
But it was Pro Football Focus that put it out. No, an actual quote from Colts legend and current Colts wide receiver coach, Reggie Wayne. That's a good nominee. Chauncey's in Watertown. See if he can't unseat one of these leaders in the clubhouse. Go ahead, Chauncey.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
We're great.
All right. The limited amount of time that you're allowed to get a McRib sandwich when he comes back from McDonald's lasts longer than Matt Ryan's career.
Yes. It's good. It's accurate. It's timely. The McRib is coming back. I think we have a new leader.
The delivery was strong. Goodness. All right, we got... Whoa, he had the last guy hung up?
No.
He
said I can't top that. Oh, I think we have our winner.
I think Chauncey, man.
I don't think that's ever happened before, that the last caller is the best caller. Chauncey was timely. He came in hot. He did not ask if we could hear him. There was not 5 seconds of pause with a bunch of background noise. Short, sweet. He delivered it. Funny, accurate, timely. Checked all the boxes.
All right, give it to Chauncey.
Chauncey, you're going to the Vols game.
Chauncey's going to see Tennessee, number 3 Tennessee, hosting the Kentucky. Oh, I need to pay several fines today. I've said Kentucky all day long. The Kentucky Tackle Cats this weekend at Neyland Stadium, courtesy of Famous Dave's Barbecue. Get the best barbecue for your buck only at Famous Dave's. Bravo. Give me some polls.
I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse. Because the polls have closed and the votes have been tallied. It's time for a poll update. And he's a good boy. Buck Reising Show producer and correspondent, Lucas Panzica.
Take it to the club.
Presented by Two Rivers Ford. If you can custom order any new Ford from Two Rivers, they'll deliver it straight to you. All you got to do is custom order it, and then they bring it to you to your home. Who are the winners of the weekend? Puka says Justin Fields.
Randy Moss's career as a Titan lasted longer than Matt Ryan's career as a Colts quarterback.
George says fans of Tennessee, UT Martin, and anyone else that donated over the past week to the GoFundMe for the UT Martin football player whose family lost their home in Hurricane Ian, that fund went over $86,000 over the course of the past week or so.
At Coach J Long 98 says Tom Brady's retirement was longer than Matt Ryan's career with the Colts.
That's true. Kenneth says the XFL, two former XFL quarterbacks getting wins over future Hall of Famers. Winners of the weekend. Was Heineke in the XFL? I thought it was the okay, Robert's nodding. It was the XFL. I get all the random pro NFL football leagues that aren't the NFL mixed up.
Jay Ramirez 615 says me asking my wife where she wants to eat and her IDK responses lasted longer than Matt Ryan's career with the Colts.
Who are the losers of the weekend? Jordan says Washington Commanders for being a poverty franchise. He submits a dailysnark.com article with the paragraph, a Commanders season ticket holder recently won a Commanders raffle. The prize was a check made payable to him for $14,000.
I saw this story.
The fan won the 50-50 at a raffle back in September, but says he didn't get the check until this week after more than a month of asking questions. When he went to cash it, the check bounced.
The check bounced.
Oh, my goodness.
It's an unbelievable story. Cedric Walker says the Memphis Mad Dogs lasted longer than Matt Ryan's career with the Colts.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't either.
Which NFL fan base feels the best right now? Mahogany says Jets and Giants.
Mike Keith calling a sack lasts longer than Matt Ryan's career as the Colts quarterback. That's from @fam4the1.
Oh, that's really good. Oh, man, that's really good. Most of the replies here say the Giants fan base feel the best. I know Robert said that they're perpetually like, no, we can't feel good about anything, but I don't know, man. They're 6-1. They look really good.
Luke Baird says Kim Kardashian's marriage with Chris Humphries lasted longer than Matt Ryan's career with the Colts.
72 days? Has it been 72 days since Matt Ryan kicked off week 1 with the Colts as a starter?
Is it 72 days?
That was how long the marriage lasted.
Oh,
that might
goodness.
be right on the nose.
I just want it for the comedy. You're not making me do math. I won't do it.
Which NFL fan base feels the worst right now? Mahogany says the Bucks. That's a good submission.
There's a bunch of jokes about, performance in bed that would indicate that it lasted longer than
Yes. Everybody who submitted one of those thought they were the only one to submit one of those.
The head of lettuce that outlasted British Prime Minister Liz Truss also outlasted Matt Ryan's career with the Colts, from Tanner C. Gibson on Twitter.
The head of lettuce. Which NFL fan base feels the worst right now? I'm having a hard time finding one that does not say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Coro says certainly the Colts fan base. Paul says the Packers.
Yes, I would say that is absolutely accurate on both sides. I have got a good one, but these lines have been busy, so my wait on hold to win the Vols tickets was longer than Matt Ryan's Colts career at EKH Sports.
Oh, that would have been a good one if we had gotten it to air. We got a ton of calls today. All right, a fitting final poll. Who is the Colts' next quarterback? Sam Ehlinger, Mac Jones, or other? 50% say Mac Jones. 32% say it will continue to be Sam Ehlinger. And the responses for Mahogany, Jared Goff. From Preston, Joe Flacco. From Eldon, Baker Mayfield. From George, Jimmy G. From Stoney, Derek Carr.
Oof. Scott, 195302. Says Buck Reising's weight loss journey has lasted longer than Nathaniel Ryan's Colts career.
Those are the polls.
That's the show. We started off terribly. I don't think we did all that well in the middle, but it's been a lot of fun. We appreciate you guys spending your time with us from 10 to 1 here on 104.5 The Zone. Don't go anywhere, because Blaine and Mickey, they're going to have a great time. God knows what they're going to do on 3HL, but I'm sure there will be laughs had at the expense of the former Colts quarterback. In the meantime, I will catch you tonight on A to Z Sports Prime Time, and if not, the radio show starts tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.